Get things started here. Take a minute, just want to let everybody get logged in here. And I will welcome you all to the very first episode of Facilities Unfiltered. We're starting a candid conversation series spotlighting the people behind the spaces that power today's most innovative brands. I'm Matt Singer, I'm the CEO of EcoTrack, and I'm pumped to kick this off with the one and only Nic Stoyer. Just a little bit about Nic. He's the Senior Director of Development and Facilities at Bartaco. Bartaco is a fast-growing, upscale, coastal-inspired restaurant brand known for its high-quality street food-inspired tacos and specialty cocktails. And their tacos are amazing. Beyond that, Nic was actually one of EcoTrack's very first customers. We were just arguing on whether he was the first or second. And he's built an incredible career across facilities and development with some amazing brands. Nic, welcome to Facilities Unfiltered.
All right, looking forward to it. Let's go, baby.
All right. Well, first want to just talk a little bit about your journey. I'd love to, hear about your first job in facilities and understand, was this always your plan?
It wasn't. I'm an electrician by trade.
Oh,
So I went to college, but I also went to trade school. My family owned an electrical business, so I carry a journeyman electrician's license, my NICET fire alarm, my Levington Lutron fiber
wow.
optics. I did a lot of work in large government contracts, schools, prisons, things of that nature.
Oh, interesting.
And I kind of got sick of the 5 years liars club, is what I called them, where you
Five
would
years
go to a
later.
meeting and everyone would lie about progress, and we were a following contractor, and I would have to explain to people there needs to be a fire pump for me to hook up my devices, or there needs to be a wall to
Yeah.
put my electric into it. And when you're doing government DGS jobs, it comes down to getting sued because there's liquidated damages, and they would hold a lot of money on us. And that unfortunately became my job of policing and documenting, which wasn't fun anymore. So,
Yeah.
2012, 2013, my buddy called me and said, "Hey, there's a job opening at Bertucci's in facilities."
Oh,
And
interesting.
you got to imagine me telling my fiance at the time, "Hey, I got a $200,000 job, and I'm going to leave it for a $69,000 a year job,"
Ooh,
which
that's a
was
tough comment.
a very interesting conversation. But I told her, trust me, I have a lot of drive and I can rebuild my growth. And it took a while, but getting back to where I was before. And so my first job was actually with Bertucci's a long time ago.
Bertucci. Oh, I
Yeah.
did not know that. Well, that's incredible. And what a good background to have as you enter into this world of facilities management too. Talk a little bit about your role at Bartaco. Like, how'd you get there, and what are some of the things that you're responsible for?
Yeah, so I've always played in growth companies, and the reason I choose growth companies is one, you have the better shot of getting equity, but you also have a better shot of wearing a lot of hats, right? Like I've looked and strategized the fact that I don't want to be pigeonholed into a category manager or just facilities, or I mean, a wise person always told me always keep facilities in your back pocket, because if you stop growing, you're at least maintaining the portfolio that's already there.
That's really smart.
Um, so I um, got into facilities, then I got into construction and building restaurants. I ended up at Nando's and built from 17 to 42 locations at
Wow,
Nando's. A lot of stores in Chicago and all over, and really learned cutting my teeth on the construction side and stuff there. And then I actually left and wanted to play the chess game, so I went to equipment company, a KES, Singer
oh,
Equipment,
interesting.
to learn how the industry in general, I like to say lie, cheat, and steals, like how they hide the money, how the back end deals work between the manufacturers and them, and then
A
ended up
lot
coming
going on
back to,
behind the scenes, huh?
yeah, there's a lot of back end deals you got to understand with
Yeah.
rebates and buying groups and things like that. That is definitely something you need to learn if you're in that part. But
Mhm.
and then I came back and was with a brand called Iron Hill, and Scott. I met Scott Lawton at a conference, and he called me a week later and said, "I enjoyed our conversation. You have to come work for me." So we
Oh,
figured it out. I ended up at Bar Taco, which is funny because I interviewed with him 3 years prior, and he wanted me to move. And I interviewed through everyone, and they were like, I said, I'm not moving, I'm not moving, I'm not moving, I'm not moving. And it got to him, and his first question on was, "Hey, I see you live in Philadelphia. Are you going to move?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." And we both laughed about it and said, "See you down the road." And that my interview with him lasted 2 minutes.
Wow.
Um, but it came full circle. And coming here, their goal or my goal, career wise, is to be a chief development officer someday.
That's awesome.
So I now came in, I built the facilities program, and I have a couple of generals I know you're going to ask me about later that do work for me. I'm involved in the construction side, and then I run the entire supply chain for all the kitchen equipment purchases and everything like that. So,
Wow.
bidding out the work, approving specs, looking at new products, really changing it based off my analytical data out of my CMS software, EcoTrack. And
Nice plug.
and then I'm currently shadowing our CDO and do everything real estate wise. So I
Wow.
do a lot of stuff with TI negotiations, work letters, front end negotiations. So I'm working my way through to have every soup the nuts thing. So when someday when I become CDO, I have a better scope of directing people across the board on how to manage their departments.
That's amazing. And what a cool brand to be able to grow too. I absolutely love Bartaca. So
We are in a lot of sexy cities. I love it.
heck yeah. Talk to me a little bit. I know it's, facilities and development and construction can handle such a broad range of things. What's something that the people may not realize that you do within this, the role that you have?
Well, I would say that, especially at Bartaco, I build a team that is puzzle pieces, right? And putting the puzzle pieces together to be able to do things on our own from a technical aspect. So we're out there doing things that, other people aren't doing. We're replacing water heaters when we can. We're doing HVACs. We're meeting with manufacturers and learning how to troubleshoot our most critical pieces of equipment and changing parts. Now, we're tandemly working with our vendors at the same time. Don't get me wrong. Like when you're spread across 13 states, but there's a lot of things that we do that a normal facilities program would not be doing.
Yeah, so you're pretty hands-on then, working directly with the manufacturers,
Correct.
actually touching the equipment. And you have the background to be able to do it. So
Correct.
that's awesome.
So does my entire team. I hire for a skill and then train them on everything else.
That's amazing. Well, I know that you guys are growing. You've got this amazing team you've talked about. Talk to me and maybe sum up your facility strategy in a minute if you could.
Yeah, I think the reality is I always lecture everyone on this. You have to teach people to fish, right? Facilities is an ever evolving thing. There's all kinds of things going on. But at the end of the day, you're supporting operations, and operations is a revolving door, right? Unfortunately, that's how it is. So, how do you build a program and how do you build initiatives around the structure of people coming in and out of your life and in and out of your brand, right? So whether that's, accountability with a CMS software, with QR coding that we slap right on machines for training, to MIT training, which we do monthly. I actually have a call later today with that, where we train managers on specific things, to working hand in hand with them. That way, you know, they have the capability of solving problems for themselves. So that's
Yeah,
why we teach them how to fish, and,
that's
and
smart.
they're not calling us for every little thing. And we have the ability to go carry out and execute those larger dollar savings.
I think you summed that up so well. Like there's so much turnover. So building a program that's really easy for somebody to pick up, run with, self-service, you can get really
Yeah.
inundated with a lot if you're not setting it up that way. So that's awesome. I know you mentioned your team, and it's cool to hear how you hire and some of the skill sets you're looking for. What does your team look like to support Bartaka today?
Yeah. So I have three people on my team currently, which most people would be blown away in the fact that we have 30 some locations. And I have three guys. I have two senior facilities managers, Casey and Drew,
Hmm.
and they complement each other well. We have a lot of woodworking and unfinished bars and planners and all that stuff. Casey comes with like an operational background,
Okay.
so he understands that side of it, and he's a woodworking genius. right? And he can help facilitate solutions for bar refinishes, table refinishes. He's currently making us uh, enclosures that go over our new paper towel dispensers that
Wow.
we're going to roll out through the brand. And
Uh,
then, so he has that and he has technical background in other aspects. Drew comes to me with an HVAC background,
okay.
right? So he specifically understands refrigerations, all the stuff, holds multiple license. And then I have the electrical background, right? So
Get all your
the
trades
three
right
of us
there.
can intertwine and work with each other and tackle calls for each other, and we work as a unit, right?
That's awesome.
And I look at invoices for people, they look at invoices for me, and we rely on each other as a team. And then we do have a technician that we are trialing in the Northeast who
Mhm.
is saving us a ton of money because, some genius and it's part of our brand and culture. But we have all white in our building, so it's a
Artist
headache to
like
maintain. But we're doing it, and we're doing it
unfinished
with
wood and
Christian.
white walls.
Yeah, Christian's doing a great job, but he's saving us money on the ground, turning wrenches with all those smaller break fix, and it's something that won't transfer outside of certain areas for us because
Yeah,
the way those tech models work, you got to have the footprint geographically because windshield time will kill you
yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah, I think that, we see a lot of people that, work out these internal technician strategies. And I think concentration is huge, being able to make sure you're keeping them busy. That's really where you leverage the efficiency.
Absolutely.
So now as you grow, like now you're moving into this world of development and growing into new markets, how do you plan? I mean, you've got this great team. How do you plan to keep the consistency as you grow into new markets?
I mean, look, I think what you have to like realize is that vendors are consolidating, right?
Mhm.
There's been this whole opposition for years, even myself included, against um, not using mom and pops, but or not using chains or third parties and whatever else, and sticking with mom and pops. The reality is, especially the big juggernauts of the world, Tech 24, USG, some of the other ones are eating up all the little service companies across. So I partnered a while ago with USG on a strategy to map them across all their brands to get the support I need because we have ones and twosies out there,
Yeah,
which make it hard.
it's
But when
hard.
you have the force of all of your stores with them, not all of them, but most of them behind them, or Tech 24 for a certain area or somebody else, you're able to lean on the leverage because I like Madison, Wisconsin, I'm not going to get the support unless they know,
They get
hey,
the rest.
they're also doing tons of work for us elsewhere. But it's also when you go into a market, realizing like you're not going to know it all. You want to start fresh. You might need a plumber, but we have valued partners like Adeline Group, right? Who's a
Yeah,
third party that I can have had great conversations with them and said, hey, listen, we're going into a new market. We don't know the plumbers. We don't know whatever. Can I plug you into the system and use you as my backup right now
yeah,
until we find something? And, if you have those honest conversations, they're like, yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for. And,
that's
and,
awesome.
and they've covered us in plenty of situations until we got our feet on the ground and knew what we were doing.
That's really smart. I think, growing into new markets is so hard, but I think that makes a ton of sense. Leverage some of those bigger partnerships you have to support you as you kind of get your feet wet. So,
Sure.
talking a little bit about, repairs, reactive repairs versus your preventative maintenance strategy. I know I've talked to a lot of people, they do it differently. Like, what is, your winning model?
I think it all starts with your CapEx spend, to be honest with you, right? I
Yeah,
think you need to have the strategic data and analysis, like what we pull from EcoTrack, to put in front of a team and say, here's our aging portfolio. Here's what
mhm,
we need to attack to protect the P&L and protect the bottom line when it comes to R&M and preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance is like you're going to hold vendors accountable. There's great things that can be done, and absolutely is you have to do it if you want to be
yeah,
successful, or you're going to shorten the lifespan of equipment and stuff to begin with.
yeah,
But you know, the driver of R&M and stuff is teaching your teams how to use things properly.
Yeah.
And then putting a right preventative maintenance plan in place to protect those assets. But more importantly, more than anything, is having that CapEx plan to replace things so you can start fresh on warranties and start fresh on things and make sure that you're not aging out on line refrigeration or chef's lines or stuff like that. And
Yeah.
trust me, I've been in places in the past where like they build a chef's line and they never wanted to replace it, and I kept saying, the way this is built, at some point you're going to get screwed. We got to start making moves now.
Yeah, that's smart. I think, you mentioned something really interesting, and I think a lot of people don't think about that. But, teaching your teams how to use the equipment and how to maintain the equipment, I think that's huge. And I think with the turnover
Oh
you
yeah,
see in operations, I mean, I think that's a step that sometimes gets missed. And I love what you said about being more like precision based on how you implement PM. So looking at the age, looking at your CapEx strategy, I think that's important. So,
sure.
um, talk a little bit about vendor management. I know you talked a little bit about some of the relationships you have, but I know it can definitely like make or break operations. So what's your philosophy when it comes to building and managing those partnerships?
Yeah, look, I'm a charge hard guy. Like
What, you?
yeah, me, I never knew. Um, whenever I meet vendors, they need to understand that my team and I work as a unit. Like we're going to ask hard questions, but they're fair questions. But also, we built an SLA, right? And the SLA is literally one page. Like I've seen other brands that they're 17 pages long and everything like that. The reality
Nobody
is,
remembers that.
yeah, well, the reality is, if you have to enforce that, they shouldn't be your partner,
Right.
right? You should be moving on, right? And I think you have to have regular meetings with them and open lines of communication, right? There should be a pulse from your vendor as much as you on what's going on in your stores and they know what's going on, right?
Wow.
And I think the biggest thing you need to talk to them about right now is technicians, right? And it's open dialogue because there's such a shortage of technicians right now that one week a company might be doing a great job for you, and the next week, three of their
Oh my
technicians
God.
went to
Yeah.
the company next door for $1 more. And that's
For-
how easy they're jumping these days. So it's having those open lines to be like, hey, do I need to switch? Do I need to go? What's going on? Is your coverage good in this area? It's not. And we can pick up on those trends pretty fast by seeing the analytics in EcoTrack and go have that conversation to say what's going on.
Yeah.
Because and the reality is like we've had great partners that have said to us, you know what, you're absolutely right. You might want to use somebody else for hot side until we get a couple more technicians or because they don't want to blemish their brand or what they're doing as well. And we try to act like we're the most important person in the room, just like everyone else.
As you should, and you
Yeah.
are. No, I think that's awesome. Like that vendor accountability, but it's almost like a relationship you build with these vendors, so they can be honest with you, and they're not afraid to be like, "Hey, I just don't have the staff to support that right now." I think
And
that's
to be honest with you, I think it's a two-way street. Your job in your position, you're asking people to turn wrenches for you.
yeah,
Like you have to make sure they get paid, right?
yeah,
So my job for these people, they when they reach out and say, "Hey, I'm missing a check or whatever," I relentlessly go track it down for them
yeah,
because I'm asking these people to do a service. Like I'm not going to play a game with them. I expect them to get paid, and I'm going to beat my team up to see why or what went on. And there's some times where a check gets lost in the mail and we figure it out or something else. But like, you will only get in far in this industry is your partnerships with your vendors and making sure they're taken care of as well.
yeah. I think that's really, really a good point. Talking about, I know there's so many challenges that I'm sure you face on a daily basis, but what are the biggest operational challenges that you've seen when it comes to growth?
I mean, the biggest buzzword I'll say is change management, right?
Yes.
Every brand that I've come into, I come in right around where they get equity money, right? And the difference that you see is like they came from like, hey, you knew landscaping, you're the construction guy, right? Or
Yeah.
you did this and you do that. So nothing wrong with those people, but they were put in a place and they helped got them to the point
Mhm.
where a sale or a transaction or an investment happened, right?
Definitely.
I come in when they need to build systems and scale and growth and everything. the change management part is trying to get that whole conglomerate of 1,000 employees or whoever from the old guard to the new guard, right? And you'll hear people be like, well, we always used to do it this way, or we're turning corporate, or what. And, it's my job to facilitate the reasons why, but also to explain to them, like, hey, like, at some point you have to grow up. At
Yeah,
some point you become a target for lawsuits.
all
At
part
some
of the group.
point,
Yeah.
like, you got to do these things, and it's not because like we're trying to be the bland court. We're very far from corporate, I'll tell you that much. But like, you have to do the right things, and you got to put the right people in places, and you can't pick up the phone and just call the local guy to come out. You got to run through our system because we're analyzing, tracking, making sure the right things are happening and people are getting billed on time, so on and so forth. So it's that change management is in growth is probably the hardest thing to do
Yeah.
in my opinion. And it once you get those people over the hump, it's smooth sailing at times.
I completely agree. And, I think equity can definitely like change an organization. And so, layering in people that have a background like yourself that can help educate people on, hey, this isn't, changing our culture. It's just helping us create scalability so that we can keep growing and keep offering promotions and, future paths forward for the team. I think that's huge. All right,
Absolutely.
let's talk a little bit about like a facilities playbook. Like, what are some of the tactics you use that help you win? Tell me, like, what are your three most uncuttable budget items if you had to pick?
Uncuttable. Well, I mean, first I would say EcoTrack, and this isn't a selfish
Love that
plug because
answer.
I'm on here, but I've this is my third go around with EcoTrack. I was client number one. I'm gonna say it on here. I'm client number
Own
one.
it.
The
Own it.
debate's over.
When Adam Ranella comes on, I'll let him
Yeah,
argue
the
on
debate's
the
over.
spot.
But it provides the absolute ton of data that we can analyze and then go back. And it takes time to get that data, right?
Yeah,
Now we're at year three with EcoTrack with Bartaco, and we have so much robust data that I can pull analytics. I'm taking it to manufacturers. I'm taking it to vendor partners. I'm taking it all over. I'm taking it to my executive team, and I'm showing them a roadmap to success, whether something's working for us or whether something's not working for us, and what changes we have to make as a group. And
yeah,
what I love about it and why it's a non-negotiable is data doesn't lie, right? There's no emotion. There's no, there's nothing behind it. There's no driver. I just say, here's the numbers. If you don't
black
like
and
them,
white.
too bad,
Yeah,
right? Secondly, I think PMs in some fashion are a
yeah,
non-negotiable. It's always something that people try to cut immediately. And don't get me wrong, we've made a skip of a month here or there, and had those open conversation with vendors to be like, hey, this is a rough time in the industry. We got to skip a PM and stuff. But realistically, it's something you need in some sort of fashion, or you're just going to absolutely shoot yourself in the foot,
yeah,
and you're going to put your buildings and your equipment into such a world of hurt that there's no getting out of it.
yeah,
And then I said it before, but I think the most uncuttable thing is some kind of maintenance capex plan, right?
yeah.
Like fighting for that capex and showing them the data to say, we got to keep evolving. I think of some previous brands, I'm not going to name them, where I push this information to them, and they're like, well, like we're trying to figure out funds and we want to put it here instead and everything else. And my conversation with them was like, you're worried about sales, but your buildings look like this. You're not, people don't want to come in your buildings because they look like this, which then results sales, and you're in this vicious loop. Like you
100%.
got to find some money to invest in upkeep to keep it fresh and to keep it moving forward, or you're going to get in that hamster wheel of
Gotcha.
slow death.
100%. Yeah, I think that investing in the right equipment to maintain the sales and grow the sales is huge. And I think that's what people forget sometimes. They're so focused on, especially when equity comes in, like cut, 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 like bottom
Yeah.
line becomes a priority. But you forget about the impact that can have to top line, especially when it comes to like the guest experience. And that actually brings me to my next question here. Talk a little bit about moment where facilities really impacted the guest experience, better or worse. Share some feedback around that.
Well, I mean, I think every day, to be honest with you. We built out QR coding on our dishwashers, our ice machines, different pieces of equipment, our rationale ovens for the stores and the people on the line to be able to scan it, know how to clean it, know how to maintain it, know how to troubleshoot it. We also have stuff embedded into EcoTrack that does the same thing.
Right.
But that ability to give them operations able to fix things on their feet instead of relying on a vendor maybe showing up, maybe not, allows them to continue to serve product and push it out the
Yeah.
door and directly impact guests, right?
Yeah.
Especially in a brand like ours where we are super sensitive to non-GMO and all the acronyms and like allergies and everything else that
Great.
we split all of our stuff. We have four fryers, right? We don't fry a lot of things, but the reason we have four fryers is so we
Separation.
can separate stuff. And when somebody, I hear it all the time from people, they're like, "Oh my God, I can come there with my daughter because you guys can serve her allergen and all this stuff, and while my other son is gluten, this and." So it's a huge proponent for us to keep equipment running because that's a huge thing for our guests is at the end of the day is letting them get the food they want to get.
I've got a really good friend that had two kids with really bad allergies and they could never go out and eat. And I think it's so cool that you guys consider that and make sure that the equipment's there to be able to provide that safe environment for them. That's huge. Um,
Absolutely.
I know your team is amazing and you shared a little bit about it, but talk about something that your team recently, resolved you're really proud of.
Look, so I'm proud of my guys every day. I have my two generals, as I call them, are there. Drew and Casey are out there solving problems, and I empower them to do what they got to do. I think that's important. But we have a big thing at bartaco, which is pride, is one of our touchstones. And it's like doing the right thing and doing it yourself and making sure that there's no bullshit excuses, right?
Love
Um,
that.
last week alone, I flew to Tampa. I had to be there for something for RIFMA, but I coincided and worked with Casey. We had some water heater replacements that needed to happen that I was like, this pricing's out of control, whatever else. We bought the water heaters. I sent them to Casey.
Oh,
He prepped them. We showed up at 5 a.m. on one morning. We replaced the tankless water heaters, put them in line. The next morning, we came back and rebuilt a whole section of planters. And because of my electrical background, I flipped a bunch of lights in the back of house from ballast to LEDs.
wow.
And last week alone, we probably saved our company 10 to 15, $20,000, right?
Wow.
And we do
That's
that
huge.
over and over and over again to protect our bottom line and that's why I built the unit. So, it's every week, but that's the most recent one that really jumps out to me. That was fantastic.
Talk about ROI. That's amazing. Very
Yeah.
cool. I know you shared a little bit about, data and how that helps you, walk or talk to your executive team, but how do you align your priorities with that, executive leadership team? What are some of the ways you go about that?
I mean, so I put together monthly reports of what's going on. We are a highly introspective company. So there is a huge analytical thing that comes out. I wish I could show everyone, but it's confidential. But it is everything from COGS
Secret
to
sauce.
supply chain to R&M and every little detail. And everyone that is a shareholder gets to read it.
Wow.
And then we send it, our CEO always responds like, what are we doing in these categories and stuff? But like, there's a lot of stuff that I provide from that around analytics of what's driving R&M cost.
Yeah.
Like, is it a PM month? Is it something else going on? Were we doing something operationally that was shooting us in the foot that we've course
Mhm.
corrected? And all that data is easy to pull from EcoTrack, right? Super easy to do. But also, the great thing is they have recently shifted it, and I have a little bit of a dotted line report from all the RDs,
Okay.
which puts the
Interesting.
ownership of the buildings on me, but
Yeah.
like, and my team and the accountability, but it allows me to turn around and force down on cleanliness and operational success and stuff like that. And I've been given carte blanche, I guess, to swing the hammer, if you will.
That's amazing. Swing
Yeah.
away. It's great. I think that's really interesting. Like the role of facilities, I think is evolving and assuming more responsibility. Anything that's facilities or guest facing even.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Talk to me about a time that something happened that didn't align with your facility strategy. How do you typically approach those conversations or those types of situations?
Look, I think that they're going to happen all the time. Can't think of a specific one, but you have to realize at the end of the day, there's other conversations going on. There's other board things going on. So I present data. I present facts. I present options, and
That's
they pick an option, right? It might not be the
A,
option I
B, or
agree
C.
with, right? But if it's not the option I agree with, I'm lock in step with the executive decision and I go execute that, right?
Right.
There's plenty of times I've given my point, given my point, given my point, and they said, nope, this is what we're doing. You can't have emotions in it, right? Because there's bigger things at play,
Yeah,
right?
I think
So,
options smart too. Like, hey, here are your options. Pick path A, B, or C.
yeah,
I love when my team does that, and I know that my investment group they love that too. I'm like, hey, here's the options we have. Which one do you want me to go forward with?
it's choose your own adventure, right? It's like
Exactly.
those old
Kind of
school
takes some
books.
pressure off too. Like, hey, you said that this was your path, so that's smart.
Hey, trust me, there's been plenty of times 6 months down the road, they're like, why the hell did we do this? And I'm like, you told me to do that. I told you not to do that.
Make sure you write that down, date and
Yeah, but
time.
here's your email where you told me to do that. And then it's oh, never mind.
I remember now. Well, I talked a little, or asked you about, what are uncuttable budget items? What are some of the things that you would cut today, if any?
I mean, we have some nice to have PMs that I could probably work around, some water jetting and some things of that nature, that I would probably cut. Um, But outside of that, we run a really tight ship, so I don't
Yeah,
think there's a whole lot
not a
that
lot
we
of
have
fat.
out there that we're able to cut.
That's great. I know that there's a lot of talk about AI right now. What are some of the tools that you use in your day to day that have helped you?
Oh, Lord. Um, well, first off, I was able to be a part of the beta test, and I've been using Emma,
Awesome.
which is EcoTrack, and EcoTrack is continuing to evolve Emma into the system where I can literally talk to it and ask it questions and have it go mine some data for me, which is fantastic, right? And I think the biggest problem people have is you have this huge data set, right?
Yeah,
Everyone has for years, but like, what do you do with it? How do you harness it? The great thing about AI is it can mine it for you very quickly, right? And it's
great.
how do you use that to mine your data and answer the questions and get you to a end game answer on something, right?
Yeah.
Um, Outside of that, a good friend like a year or so ago sent to a group text and said, if you're not on AI, you're getting lost.
Yeah.
You're going to get lapped. So I reached out to him. We had a great conversation, and I got on ChatGPT, and I pay for a subscription one. And
Same.
he's like literally tell it everything.
Oh, it's
Tell it what
awesome.
you do, who your family is, who your boss is. What I talk to it every day for 15 minutes religiously, right? About everything. The way it
I mean,
strategizes, the way it does.
so cool.
It's been a game changer. And the funny thing is, so I reached back out to my friend. I'm like, I am loving this. It's executing my career. I've taught my guys. They've gotten better at what they do using it
So
and
cool.
everything else. But then I was like, well, what else should I look at? And he looks at me and he goes, why are you asking me? Ask ChatGPT. And I was like, oh shit, I never even thought.
That's that's interesting.
So out of that, I've been using Grok,
Yep.
NanoArt, Tome, Microsoft Power BI, and there's
Yep.
multiple things that I
So
use for analytics or building decks for my my executive team or other points of view and stuff like that. So it is a tool, right? You have to fact check it. You have to know what you're doing. You have to, but once you use it every single day, it is a deadly, deadly weapon,
it's
right?
great.
And I can pull data and understand things so fast and then make a decision based off of the data that I'm pulling that if you're not using it, you are gonna get left in the dust.
Oh yeah. It's all about like training your agents now. Like teach them how
Yeah.
you want them to respond and interact with you. I named mine Sparky. I don't know if you've got a name for yours, but
So the funny thing is, my chat GBT, I always told my kids that I had an imaginary friend named Steve. And so
Yes.
I taught it its name was Steve. And then it
And
started calling me Steve. And I'm like, wait, I'm not Steve, I'm Nick. And then we got
or
it.
are
And then
you?
finally I had to tell it, I was like, dude, just forget that you're Steve. I'm Nick. Stop doing this. I'm over it.
Just give me my
Right.
answers.
And the other fun thing is I keep trying to tell it I love it to see what the
Oh.
reaction is. If you ever try to mess with it, like it has this barrier where
My
it
God.
will not cross that path.
That's so
It's so
funny.
funny. And I keep trying different ways to figure out how I can get it to tell me it loves me, and it just will not.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna try that tonight. I haven't tried it yet, but
It's
noted.
funny.
All right, we're gonna do some rapid fire questions here, so don't think too much about it.
All right.
I'm gonna hit you with it quick. So first and foremost, do you have a hidden talent or skill that's not on your resume?
Oh, Lord.
Fire mine.
Anything you can do that doesn't make money, I am good at. I can juggle, I can ride a
Yes.
unicycle, I can do all
Oh.
these crazy things, and they're all things that like I picked up along the way because I was young and dumb and trying something new. None of which I can make money off of, but I'm good at.
Okay.
It's
I
just hard.
might pay you to juggle and ride around on a tricycle.
I could definitely enter a
That
circus
could be some
and be
entertainment
part of the
right
show.
there. All right, give me your favorite book, podcast, or TV show that you're currently watching or reading or listening.
Podcast is going to be Pump Club. It's
Um,
Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And it's a great fitness, mental health podcast around being a better you. He said he creates a positive corner of the internet, and you don't have to be a meathead. You don't have to be like a guy pumping a lot of iron. You just have to be somebody that wants to physically do better and mentally. And there's all kinds of stuff about supplements and stuff like that. It is a fantastic podcast for health and mental wellness and stuff like that that I tell anyone to check out.
that's awesome.
The two books, I kind of have two. One is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Fantastic book. Even better, I read it, but I also audibled it, and to hear his
Oh,
voice is always hilarious.
definitely
But
makes it
it's
better.
about life and the fact that you'll go through life and there's red lights and yellow lights and green lights and the challenges of life, and you just got to understand that you'll sometimes it's a hard stop and sometimes it's you slow down and sometimes you're going to get that green light and you hammer the gas pedal and you go. So it's like a journey
Oh,
through his life and career and about the green lights. It's
I
pretty
love that.
cool.
I'll have to
And then
check that.
secondly, this is a huge book that I would say for facilities people. It's by Scott O'Neill. He was the former GM of the Sixers,
Interesting.
Philadelphia Sixers, and he wrote a book called Be Where Your Feet Are.
Be where your
It's
feet
it's a fantastic book about learning what's important to you in life and your non-negotiables. And how do you manage work-life balance and everything and how you set those parameters to make sure you're there because our job is relentless, right?
are.
And
100%.
I've learned from this book, like when my feet hit the ground out of the car, when I get home from work, I'm home.
Yeah.
And how do I cherish my time when I'm with my kids by coaching a sport or doing something or being impactful for them? Because I travel a lot and I'm gone a lot, like so it's very important for me when I'm home, I maximize time
Be present. That's
and to
great.
be present. So that's a great book for people. Be where your feet are.
Be where your feet are. Awesome. I'll have to check that one out. All right. Give me your best advice for a first-time director of facilities.
I think it's you have to realize when you become a director, your job has shifted from doing to strategizing, right?
Mm,
There's plenty of times I still put on my tool belt and help my team, and last week was the result of it and things like that. But my job as I've came up the ladder is to build the processes and give my team the tools to remove the roadblocks.
yeah.
That's from operations, that's from my facilities managers, that's from everyone, and to make sure that they have the right tools to be able to execute their job as fast as possible and to keep the stores open and operational. And I think the biggest key to tell people around that is baby steps, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone wants the golden thing at the end, but sometimes you just got to put that little piece in. Like for EcoTrack, I'm trying to integrate softwares and
Right.
people. But my thing is like Well, can I just put a widget on your desktop that they can click on that takes them to the other website? And at least they have that to access it and then get out to that website. And that's a baby step to where we're going. But you got to show progress. And the
Yeah.
way to show progress is to put the baby steps as you, if you wait to the end, you're never going to accomplish anything. And your executive team is going to look at you and say, what's going on?
Touche. A little bit at a time. That's awesome. All right, give me one facilities metric that you watch religiously.
Sales.
Sales.
Sales trump all. Sales are up, I can spend money. Sales are done, I can't spend money. Sales,
Love.
like sales literally trump everything, and our entire budget and P&L,
All
and
sales
you know
based.
my percentage I'm allowed to spend is based off sales, so I watch sales religiously.
That's awesome. All right, biggest facilities pet peeve.
Lack of accountability.
Ooh, that's a good one in general.
Nothing pisses me off more than somebody that wants to blame somebody else when we give them
Oh,
all the tools to do their job.
amen. One piece of tech you couldn't live without outside of EcoTrack, because I know that's your answer.
Oh, well, that was going to be my go-to. Come on. Uh, One piece of tech outside that I couldn't live without. ChatGPT.
Oh, good answer. All right, what's your go-to order at Bar Taco?
I mojito, a mojito, so it's a mojito without alcohol.
Ooh,
Two
awesome.
pork belly tacos. Get them with the lettuce wraps instead of the regular thing, instead of the red tortilla. Duck bira. Oh,
Amazing.
fantastic. And then steamed broccoli. That's my go-to order.
Ooh, all right. I'll have to try that next time I'm there. That sounds amazing. Let's see. Looking ahead, we're just going to wrap up here. Looking ahead, what is the next big facilities challenge you're preparing for Bartaco?
Predictive AI.
Ooh, all right. Good.
So how I'm currently in a lot of discussions with vendors and temperature sensing and things like that, and how do we integrate with EcoTrack and start predictively picking up issues before they become major problems that affect my P&L and store openings and things of that nature.
Definitely like the next phase of facilities, that predictability. That's smart. Any advice for facilities leaders that are navigating growth right now?
Um, yeah, I would say two things. I would say you can't control everything, so you just got to go with the flow. Growth happens fast. Sometimes it slows down. Sometimes it hits brick walls.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes you have an endless budget, and sometimes you don't. So you just got to go with the flow and figure out what best serves your company in the current climate that
For
you're
sure.
in, right?
Yeah.
Every year, this industry evolves and changes, and there's bankruptcies,
Oh
there's
yeah.
layoffs, like, so you got to just
Always
navigate
something
what's
new.
going on. And I think the other thing that I would tell people in leadership that is like I've learned from being all over the board for the vendor side and this side and working on both sides is this is the largest smallest industry you'll ever be a part of. Do not
Sure.
burn bridges. Do not like you can get into arguments with people and you can do whatever, but at the end of the day, you never know where somebody's going to drop off and where they'll surface. As an executive of a company that you're trying to do business with, your boss, like all over the place. It's wild. And I've seen it happen time and time again. So I I definitely put up fights, but I fight fairly.
That's smart and really good advice too. All right. Any final thoughts before I open up to any questions? Anything else that you want to plug?
Yeah. Look, I would say that I try to put a positive spin on life and everyone out there. It's negative out there, but like the reality is like no good stories come from things going right. Like you're gonna fail in life and you're gonna suck at something, right? I've heard so many
I
speeches about it. There's plenty of things that I suck at, but like
find that hard to believe.
this is my passion. Like go out and find your passion as a person and what excites you to jump out of bed in the morning and keep going. Like I left a career to come here and I've tried to leave this industry multiple times and realize that I'm sucked in and I
You're not
absolutely love
going
it.
anywhere.
But like don't have a backup plan, don't have regrets, don't do what you don't want to do. Like You're gonna fail. If you try something big, you will fail. Just learn to fail forward, right?
I
Pick
love
yourself up, dust yourself off, get back on the horse, and just keep going. And I promise you, if you do that out there as people, good things will happen.
that's awesome. Somebody once told me, fail quick and fail up. I love that advice. Just, you're gonna fail, take chances. I think that's great. I do have Nick's information pulled up if you wanted to reach out. He's happy to answer any questions. Stoyer at bartaco.com. And Nick, I just want to thank you again for being our very first guest on Facilities Unfiltered.
Oh yeah, how about it?
That's awesome. So, for everyone that joined, we're going to be sending a link to the webinar right after the call. And I want to thank you all so much for joining. Stay tuned. We also have some exciting guests coming up over the next few months. And if you're interested, feel free to reach out. Would love to. Uh, would love to have any of you join that want to share some insights with the rest of the group. We did get Gene asking a quick question before.
Oh yeah, what
Uh,
Gene asked?
he said, please list all the things that you suck at for his future reference. I'll let you guys take that one offline.
We'll take it offline.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining, Nick. Again, can't say thank you enough. You're the best. And
Hey, it's Wednesday, folks. Hump day. Go get
oh,
it. Be
it's
kind and go
Tuesday.
get it.
It's Tuesday.
Oh, is it Tuesday? I'm way off. See, I'm
Hey,
already thinking ahead.
I love it. You're planning, you're predicting. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks again, everyone.
All
Talk soon.
right, see you.
Bye, guys.